guys, it's Anastasia, and if you don't already know that I make real meals, you're gonna know right now. So the drill is I just got home from work and I'm exhausted, but hashtag wedding diet, hashtag I'm engaged, I'm gonna make something for myself that's simple and healthy, and I'll be really glad I did it. So let's get started. I'm gonna get my ingredients. Today we're gonna make quinoa and kale burgers. I'll be right back. So we need scallions, eggs, kale, because it's kaling me, my quinoa, thyme, salt, and 1 can of beans. It can be whatever beans you want. When I made these the other day, I had kidney beans. Today I have pinto beans. Big deal. Okay, so I have all of my ingredients. The first thing I'm going to do, the thing that takes the longest, is to cook my quinoa. So I'm going to not be able to open this quinoa. Just kidding, I got it. And I'm just going to cook a cup and a half of quinoa. So this is about 1.5 cups. And then I'm just going to add about 3 cups of water. And I'm just going to cook my quinoa. While that's cooking, I'm going to cut 2 scallions. First I'm going to rinse them off. And I'm just going to chop my scallions as finely as possible. Okay, so I chopped my scalliones. And now I'm just going to take a few kale stems, about 5, and I'm going to rinse my kale. And so the thing about this recipe is I thought about it because my future mother-in-law, Beth Nardellis, actually asked me how I cook kale. It's always so bitter when you try to eat it in a salad. So I was trying to think up ways to make kale, to make it more fun and better tasting. So I thought up these burgers, and they're delicious because if you just eat kale like this, it can be disgusting. The way I take kale off the stems is I just rip it off. So we're just going to take some of our day's aggression out and rip off the kale so you just have the stem. So I took my kale off the stem, I ripped it off, and I don't know if you guys have ever chopped kale, but the way I do it is I gather it all up and I kind of just roll it up into a ball as tightly as possible. And then I just start chopping it up just like that. And it doesn't have to be perfect. Just keep it in this ball that you have and just chop it. Make sure your fingers are tucked in so you don't chop your fingers off. So I came real close before. And if there are any big pieces when you're done, you just do the same thing but on a smaller scale. You roll it up and you chop. So I have my chopped scale. You're going to want to get on a scale after you eat this because these are low in calories and high in protein. So I have my chopped kale, my chopped scallions, and the only thing left to do preparation-wise is drain my can of beans. Draining the beans. I'm going to rinse my beans, and once they're rinsed, I'm going to put them into this bowl, and with a fork, I'm just going to smush them. This is a prime example of cooking dirty and eating clean. So my beans are just smushed roughly. It doesn't have to be a perfect paste, just like this. So my preparations are done. Now all I have to do is wait for the quinoa to finish cooking and absorb all the water, and then we're ready to put everything together and start forming our burgers. Okay, so my quinoa cooked. I transferred it into this big bowl, and all I have left to do is combine, patty, and bake. So let's just do it. I had my eggs out. I only need 2 eggs. Now the eggs act as a binding ingredient because we're going to make burgers, so we need something to hold all of these together. So I'm going to be a rebel and just break them right into this bowl. So I have 2 eggs. There's our binding ingredient. I'm going to put in our smushed beans right into the bowl where I transferred my quinoa into. If you want, you can let the quinoa cool in the pot that you make it in, and just put everything in there because you're only just taking it out and putting it on a baking sheet anyway. My scallions, sprinkle them about, and my kale, sprinkle that about. And you could be dainty and just mix everything with a spatula, or or a spoon or a fork. But after you get a few rounds in, you're probably gonna want to just go in with your hands and make sure everything's just aggressively mixed together. You don't want clumps of beans in just one spot. You want everything to be evenly spread and evenly mixed. So I'm just going to use my hands. Okay, so now that I added my spices, it's time to patty it up. So I'm just going to take this mixture, this kale, quinoa, bean galore mixture, and make them into what looks like burger patties. And I'm just going to do that with the whole thing. And guys, making something yourself, cooking yourself, is extremely important, at least a few times a week. When you know what's going into your body, it's so much easier to control your weight and to not eat chemicals and just to stay healthy. And it also feels good because you know you did it yourself. This is all about feeling good. Positive energy, cooking yourself, eating kale and not having it taste bitter. The real test is when my future mother-in-law actually tastes these burgers, and if they pass the test and the kale doesn't taste bitter, I've definitely won. So her challenge is to make these and post about them and just to tell everybody if it worked and the kale tastes amazing and it's not bitter at all, or if it still tastes like poop. But it is very bitter without cooking it or doing anything. Hopefully, if you mix it with these ingredients, it's a lot better than if it's just by itself. Okay, so I pattied up my kale quinoa mixture and my oven is preheated to 450. Now I'm gonna bake these for 10 minutes on one side, take them out, flip them over, and bake them for 10 minutes on the other side. Okay, so I cooked my quinoa kale patties came out to about 12 minutes on one side, 12 minutes on the other in a 450-degree oven. I know, boiling. But they look amazing. They look fantastic. They look brilliant. There's no other way of saying it. They look so good. They're nice and crispy on the outside. And if you want to do the no carb thing with no buns, you can put these as a protein kick on top of a salad when you don't want to eat meat. You can eat them by themselves. You can douse them in ketchup. You can do whatever you want. The way I eat them is I have these little tiny pitas that are 80 calories each that I've already, separated. They're pitas with a pocket. They're actually called pitettes. I get the whole wheat kind, and what I do is I take a patty, I place it on the little pita, and I just slap some hummus on top, whatever hummus you want. You can make your own or Sabra family size that beast. And time to taste. This is my favorite part, guys. These are jam-packed with flavor. They're crispy on the outside, soft on the inside. They're an amazing protein kick. You can't taste the bitterness of the kale. All the kale gives is a crunch, and the crunch is delicious. And these are just amazing. You guys have to make these. Stay tuned for more things coming on AK Real Meals. Please subscribe to my page. Please follow me on Instagram and Twitter, AK Real Meals. There's more simple, delicious meals coming your way right after work. Thanks for watching.